to The Boost. I'm Pablo.
And I'm Leon.
We're at Geekdom for San Antonio Startup Week, and we're going to sit down with Llyas Salahud-Din from GrantAppli.
Okay, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
First of all, congratulations.
Yes, yeah, that was intense. It was a long 7 weeks of being part of the pre-accelerator. It was well worth it, and thank you.
And in the backup in the context for anybody who doesn't know, you won the $20,000 part of the pre-accelerator pitch competition. So that kicked off Monday as part of like San Antonio Startup Week. So really, congrats.
Thank you.
7 other companies, 8 in total.
Yeah, 7 other companies.
And it was tight. Everybody that I did a little bit of mentoring. I couldn't be too involved this year, but it was a really tight set of folks. Everybody had not only a business kind of predefined, they had products, they had customers. Like it was a tight one. So really, congrats on that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, hats off to everyone who participated, and we all won. I wish everyone could have won, but they chose one. I'm glad they chose me, and but I couldn't thank Geekdom enough, like getting me, like allow me to be part of the boot camp at first, and then the pre-accelerator. That the boot camp and the pre-accelerator, they both gave me that confidence to go to market, right? And because I remember at one time, I remember sitting with you, and I was talking about like. I had to have everything perfect, and you're like, no, and then we had the go-to-market a workshop as well, and then that just gave me the confidence. I just need to put myself out there and see what happens. And so, since then, I think we were just being in the market for like 2 months, and we started seeing some success, But that traction really helped out. I believe that traction really helped out for. Helping us win. We had a lot of traction in a short amount of time, and then I think what we're doing for the community as well, like what it's really like what we're set out to do and the impact that we want to make, and we're all of our traction is I would say 90% of it is here in San Antonio, and so we want to grow here and support a lot of nonprofits.
So, quick question: as far as like just giving some context about GrantAppli. Give us like your elevator pitch, not to make you pitch again, but just a quick explanation on GrantAppli and how it really works in the ecosystem.
Well, there's 1.8 million nonprofits in the nation. Here in San Antonio, there's about like 12,000 nonprofits. They all need money. All their business models is to raise. They all have to raise money, and so our software, what it does is it helps them produce more grants in a faster way. So if it takes you 5 to 12 hours to write a grant, we should be our software helps you do it in a fraction of the time. And so that gives them time to really focus on like what they want to do the most is like really focusing on their customers, really focusing on their clients, like saving that time because time is money, and most nonprofits wear 1,000 hats, right? And so you can't really, imagine wearing a bunch of hats while you're trying to save the world or improve your community. Like you really want to have that focused time, and so we really give them time to do that with our software. So in a nutshell, it helps you produce more grants, and it does it has a bunch of other bells and whistles. You can blog with our software, brainstorm with it, copyright, social media content, general market research, but it's kind of a one-stop shop to helping you with all sorts of communication, but most importantly, grant writing.
Well, one thing that was impressive to me was that you came to the pre-accelerator with your product already developed. You had structured out pretty much everything. You had some, questions on things that you were still working through, and we had talked about some of those, potential items, which I'm sure you've worked on and developed significantly since then. But beyond that, what you were saying is, we had talked about how many people that are in the grant writing space, they don't really know the process. They don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't have the structure. So it almost like your product allows a grant writer to also learn proper process for getting that time efficiency in, because you're not spinning your wheels asking a bunch of people about what should I do next? How should I do this? And then have to start looking for almost like a mentor to figure out how to do the grant writing professionally, right?
Yeah, that whole process is extremely time consuming. And we wanted to streamline that process for them, right? And so that's where the time comes in. So no one, I mean, most people don't like to write or are not really good writers. And so with our software, you don't have to be an excellent writer. The software, if you're mediocre, the software makes you excellent. And so, and then like there's high turnover in fundraising. There's high turnover in the grant writing space, right? Especially if you're proficient and really good, and then it's like everyone wants you, so you can go work for you can job hop and just make more money. And so that there's a high turnover because there's a lot of expectations too, on grant writers to produce, but they don't have all the resources. And so if somebody leaves a nonprofit, our software, anyone can pick up where they left off because you keep your data, and so and you just plug in where the last person left off in regards to writing another grant. And so that's really cool that we were able to add that.
So one question that I had for you is, how did you get here? I mean, your professional background, I'm sure,
Yeah.
led you to this, right?
Yeah, well, it's a long story. I mean, like I was a foster kid from 7 to 21, right? And so I was lucky to be a part of a nonprofit that had resources, so I could be self-sufficient. So I can grow up to be a professional. I mean, they provided food, clothing, shelter. I had friends, and most importantly, I had an education, right? But this nonprofit had resources. In regards to most nonprofits that don't have the resources, and they're just kind of like, they're struggling. And so that abundance, like long term, that passion pushed me to wanting to also like work in the sector, right? And so as a professional fundraiser or working on projects or on programs, I got to see how a nonprofit is ran firsthand, right? So I lived it. I was someone's outcome. Right? I was a form of impact, but also at the same time, I worked in the nonprofit sector for over like 18 years, and I've raised over $50 million for nonprofits. So
That's amazing.
I understand what it took to raise money or what it took to run a program, and it wasn't easy. And I saw some of the inefficiencies, and I had my own pain points, like wearing a bunch of hats. And like I was like, I want to be more efficient, and I got to the point where I met an engineer first, and because I would keep all my notes every year when I had like pain points of like how I could be more efficient, I would literally take notes. And then when I met an engineer, he's like promised me the world. Yeah, I can help you like build whatever you want out. And 7 months later, nothing. He didn't produce anything, and I was like complaining to a friend of like, man, my engineer is just like not getting me where I want to be. And then he's like, I know an engineer, and my ex-girlfriend's friend. He introduced me, and we got on the phone. It was like we clicked, like on the phone call. He did, we just, it was kind of like a marriage, right? Like the universe brought us together.
Yeah.
But this engineer is like, he's like a superhero. Like I tell him what I need, my new engineer, and and he produces. Like there's no micromanaging. It's like he just sees in my head.
Just does it.
And I'll tell him what I need. A week later, we have an update, software update. Or so the guy is really good. He never made any promises, but he works hard. He understands like what I need, and I think engineers are like hard to find. And you guys have built businesses and companies, and it's just the universe brought me to just an amazing individual who produced. And so we were able to get into, when we started the boot camp, we had an MVP, and then we just kept on producing it, and then we got the confidence to go to market, and we pushed it, and here we are. So
that's great.
Yeah.
On that go to market, those customers that you're helping, is there like some measurable impacts even right now? Like,
Oh yeah.
I hear a lot of like nonprofits just through others that like the grant process, almost like scholarships for college. Like you can apply to as many as you want, and honestly, it's kind of encouraged to apply to a lot because that's a source of funding, and it's a hard source of funding sometimes to come by.
Yeah, I mean, we've already gotten our first customer while using our software raised $250,000, and so and then yesterday I was onboarding So when we are onboarding 27 nonprofit executives with the social venture partners, and also Geekdom is partnered with social venture partners. And so that cohort, this current cohort, there was a gentleman that's in the cohort that I actually tested the software on. I didn't know he was going to be an SVP. So it was kind of cool. Yesterday I was giving a presentation, an onboarding the whole cohort, and he was like, hey, I actually raised $150,000 while like testing with your software. So we've got 2 test cases that we're able to share now in a short amount of time, of like one nonprofit raising $250 and another raising $150,000. And so it's pretty
You got to
amazing.
snag them, put them in front of a camera just like
know,
this,
yes.
and have them do that, because that's a super impactful, and especially for nonprofits. Like, there's a ton of softwares out there. Sometimes they're super expensive, sometimes they're clunky. So hearing that, I think is super impactful, but also it's a validation, because they're able to spend a small amount of money for the software, and then have $150,000 come in during a small trial period or test period and while it's a somewhat of an MVP, is it changes the trajectory of a nonprofit in that quarter and that year. A lot of them, they're on shoestring budgets every single time, and I know like regular giving, just like individuals and businesses, is down in America. So I think grants are becoming a more important portion of these nonprofits.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I mean, I need to get there in front of a camera and share. I've got to do a better job at like marketing.
That's every entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You have to, like you mentioned earlier, you have to wear every single hat.
Yeah.
But you're doing the right thing because you've already established a good relationship with a driver within your business, which is your partnership with your engineer. We talk about it all the time. It's like, if you're going to scale a business, you have to have good relationships in place. So, kudos to finding that resource. Sometimes you run through multiple before you actually find, quote unquote, the one, the true partner.
Yeah.
Did you have that experience when you were looking for engineers, or was it pretty much
Just
immediate?
one. I ran through one, but like,
You're
we spent
lucky. Wow.
I think we put 7 months into trying to build something, and we got nothing. We got like a lot of like code that just wasn't working. It was just very clunky. Nothing where I couldn't even. It wasn't any form of MVP. I couldn't share with anyone. It was just like, it worked, but it gave you a lot of like junk.
Right.
And you're non-technical, so
I'm not.
okay.
No, I'm non-technical. Everything's here. It's all in my head, so I couldn't.
It's a little harder to. You have to have an engineer that understands not only the non-technical but the technical, and kind of translate that. And it's an exceedingly hard thing. We talk to all these startups, and a lot of them, to the point, run through a lot of engineers and developers, and they struggle with that. So finding that it's a rare kind of diamond in the rough there.
I think the universe really helped me out, and and then like, I think years ago I had this, and you're right, like I had this other idea. I don't remember what it was about, but I had 2 engineers, and I remember like speaking to them, and I was like, "Do you get what I'm trying to say?" Like, I kind of felt like they understood, but it was like and that was 2 years of like it was 2 years of just whiteboarding, and like we never like coded anything, and then I was like, man, I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't think we're speaking the same language.
It's trying to tell them to build a bridge, and then they're asking like this steel truss, and you're like, I'm not sure. I want a cool arch, and I want some, like things here, and then they have to translate that, and it's a hard thing, especially when you don't know like the lingo and the jargon that they've got. So,
and one thing that I'd like to say is, you surpassed and you got through that first headwind. Many people sometimes will just say, "Oh, I gave it my best shot," and then it just didn't work. Not realizing that it's not that their vision is wrong. Sometimes it's just the team that you have around you. Sometimes you're right. I mean, you're not speaking the same language. Sometimes, just in terms of like, if you remember Leon, doing Strengths Finder, and you figure out that some people have a combination of strengths that are very good for certain things, and then they're not so great at other things. And then, just being able to match those, and how do you work together? How do you motivate each other? I mean, sometimes it's like, okay, it's like two magnets that are, the same exact, polarity. So you're not able to like connect. And it's not anyone's fault necessarily, but you'd be surprised at how many entrepreneurs just kind of hang up the cleats and say, I'm not going to do it. I tried it and it didn't work. And they just don't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's not my thing. I think, growing up as a foster kid, like you had to be resilient. I always had to think about solutions. And
I love
I
that.
think I just never thought that, that was going to help me long term,
Mhm.
as a personally and professionally, right? Because even in fundraising, like I say, I raised over $50 million, but like the amount of no's that I got of
Mhm.
people, not believing in like the mission or the vision that I had to help this like school build a $39 million campus,
Mhm.
and my board is not a wealthy board or very connected,
Mhm.
and this amount of no's that I got just to do like to help an organization. I took that same experience was the same with like the startup, and
Mhm.
I tried to raise some money in the beginning and no's, or people just didn't understand what I was doing, or so like that whole being resilient and not giving up, like I've been doing that since I was 7 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So like, you know, I'm always thinking about like it's always about it's not even about it's about how do I help like the community, right? Like
Mhm.
how do I uplift like all these causes that we have in our backyard, and for me somebody paid it forward for me, so I'm just trying to pay it forward, and I did it as a professional, raising money, writing grants, and now I've just had this idea of like doing it with tech, right? And so now I have a business,
Mhm.
and to be honest with you, I don't know anything about running a business. I'm learning, but like just being in Geekdom, like the cool thing is like I have like a family,
Mhm.
and it's like the degree of connecting with someone. Like I see you on the street all the time, and like we're sitting here, like it's just it's a small town,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and like there's just a lot of cool people and a lot of cool resources, and I'm just blessed to be able to like be part of the Geekdom like boot camp, pre-accelerator. Just keep the family, and I'm just excited to see where this goes, and see how many people we could help, but also like how do we also pay it forward and eat them community. So it's a
Mhm.
really unique space in the startup space. I think people are sleeping on San Antonio, and but not for long, right? So I think
Oh,
Mhm.
Geekdom's
yes.
on a whole nother level that people just don't see right now.
Sure.
Yeah. It's from when we started working downtown, it was roughly 8 years ago to now. It's come a long way. I think it's got some small hurdles to overcome. There's the valley of death, and then the fundraising and figuring those parts out.
Yeah,
But those come with people like you
yeah,
setting those foundations here, building those businesses and growing it. Now, talking about growing it in the future, that 20,000,
yeah.
have you kind of, I don't know, a lot of folks put them in their pitches. Have you thought about where that money is kind of being allocated to?
Yeah, so we built phase one of the software is to help you write grants. Like phase two is um, nonprofits need grants, and it takes
Mhm.
time to find grants. There are other softwares out there that finds grants for your nonprofit, but they're like $300, $400 a month.
Mhm.
We want to also add that feature to the software and make it affordable, right?
Mhm.
So for an extra $50 or $60, our tool will find grants for you, right? And
Mhm.
so you will be able to not only find grants, but use our tool to write grants. And so I think that's good. It's a perfect pair for the next evolution of like our software. Where's it going? So that money is going to be put towards more engineering. And then no one knows about me, right? Us.
Yeah.
And so we definitely need to do more marketing, communications, like sponsoring
Mhm.
like associations that are talking about AI and or fundraising, like getting in front of nonprofits and supporting them. Just trying to get in front of like more organizations and associations that are in this space. So like a little bit of funding towards marketing, and then like what's unique about like our company is I've since I've fundraised for 18 years, I do know a fair amount of like foundations, and so that's like our playbook right now is like
Mhm.
this how we're working with social venture partners is a foundation, the First Day Foundation is supporting that cohort, right? And so that's our playbook. Like also moving forward is going to other foundations and say, hey, support your grantees. We already have some successes. Support your grantees so they can use our software to, save time and raise more money. And so there's a number of foundations here in town and/or corporations that want to help, support the nonprofits that they support. So right now, that's our playbook right now for like at least the next year and a half until like we start getting that organic growth from marketing and going out in front, getting in front of people. So that's the unique way that we're trying to keep the money coming in.
I like the one-to-many, it's a channel approach, and that it really works. You get in a couple of those groups where it's like-minded individuals, businesses all the same, in this case nonprofits, and they're going to do cohorts, and they're going to see the value as that organization and then continue to bring you in and recommend you to every single company. And it's an easy approach to growing and sustainably growing. It's consistent. That gives you that capital to turn around and have a marketing plan. The other part that I'm sure I've mentioned it to you, I mentioned it to everybody, is building those personal brands.
Yeah.
Like at some point, whether, wherever this goes, whether you exit, you create a sustainable business or something else happens, you want to be able to have that foundation in the future of, hey, we did this and we impacted this, and this is my new venture, and I'm helping nonprofits in this way. I'm doing this next thing. So I think as you build that marketing, it ends up lifting you up in a lot of ways and putting you on that thought leadership, those conference talks, these podcasts, and all of that.
This is my first podcast, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm glad you chose the boost. The thing that comes to mind for me at the very least is so when I launched my first agency, I was registered as a minority business enterprise. And as an MBE, as a single operator MBE at the time, figuring out how to navigate that process, even though it's not nonprofits, I'm thinking that there may even be potential use for software from what I sat down with you. And this is just simply ideation. You can take it with a grain of salt. Yeah. But, being a minority entrepreneur yourself in the space, there are a number of different companies out there that are looking for, participation with government programs. That process is not altogether that different from the nonprofit space. And I'm almost wondering if, do you think that there could ever be sort of an application for being able to use the technology to facilitate those kinds of processes? Or is that too far out of?
Man, I'd love to get in that space. And I've thought about it. Once obviously I need to get some like expertise of folks who are like in the business space that are applying for grants. Like the federal space and the state and federal grant space that could be really huge for us to be able to, because there is one of our competitors does focus on just federal, like and so not saying that we want to like own that market, but if we can have success in the next couple years and then get into that space as well as an add-on, that would be great. That I mean that'd be huge. We could help you write a $50 million federal grant or $20 million state grant and have some sort of I guess earned revenue from that, 8% or 5%, 10% of because another thing we want to do long term is not everyone wants to like write grants. They want to outsource. So I've gotten nonprofits say, hey, we just want to outsource you, but we're not there yet, right?
Yeah.
So I think once we're there and we have the money and we can, say, okay, you can outsource to us and we'll get a percentage of what we write and a base pay, monthly base. And so having like back end grant writers they're probably retired, but they still need to make some extra cash.
Sure.
We can outsource. They'll be on our team and they'll help write. They're seasoned. Like, everyone that works for us is seasoned. You can outsource, whether it's a foundation or a federal grant, and that's another
it's a great
form of revenue that we'll do in the future. But
it's like a white glove service. I see those a lot where it's a full SaaS and then it gets to become I've seen it with like accounting softwares a lot. They all of a sudden add on CPAs, they add on bookkeepers, and it's like it's it's a smart move.
Yeah.
And the same thing for you. It's a smart and easy jump to say,
Yeah.
look, let's do it for you. I like the
Yeah.
percentages too, because
Yeah.
it's low risk, and
Mhm.
for the base rate, they,
Yeah.
it's all commission based. And I think a lot of businesses, for the most part,
Yeah.
and even nonprofits, will go, oh yes, 100%. Like none of this, maybe at some time after you've won a ton for them, they might reevaluate it. But
Yeah.
at that point, it's like way the
Yeah, because you
the
get some
cost.
nonprofits that like they want to work with.
Mhm.
With my consulting hat, like taking away my GrantAppli hat, like my
Mm-hmm.
other consulting, like they work with me, but they don't have a ton of cash,
Right.
so they pay me a base, and I get percent like
Mm-hmm.
from like the general operations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not like of the grant, but like that's a way that we can definitely raise some capital long term.
I mean, that's a story in of itself, right? Is how you use your own software to improve your own, business on the private side, right outside of GrantAppli, but how you leverage it as a user. I mean, you're drinking your own Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
right? And you have the facts to prove that you're more efficient, you're generating more revenue. That's a compelling story if you're
Yeah.
speaking to others that are in your similar situation but don't have the technology necessarily, or are just simply like just hacking it together
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form. It's best to co-opt them into your model.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part for most people, that they don't dog food their product.
Yeah.
Like I know that there was a large backlash not too long ago in the tech space of making every DoorDash employee go DoorDash like once a month.
Wow.
And it was, I understand there's like, all the legals and everything, but it's like, no, you should go out there and use your product. You're doing it in a very unique way. It's I had a problem, I'm gonna solve it.
Yeah.
It's gonna help everybody. Like it's a ecosystem, and then you get to firsthand drive it. Where a lot of times, I do it a lot where I'm like, oh, this is the best way, and then the actual customer is like, this is actually how we need it, and then you start to realize, okay, this is the actual path of it.
And I'm the company's biggest user. Like I use my software every day. I've got like 37 projects on my.
You're the expert. You're the resident expert.
Like and funny, right before my pitch yesterday, not my pitch, onboarding yesterday, I had a bug. Right, I was using it, just testing it, making sure everything was good. I had a bug. I had an hour. We had an hour to fix this bug. And I was like, oh my gosh! But because I use it every day, like, I'm able to see like how it's being used, what needs to be changed, like, what bugs are in there. Thank goodness we don't have a lot of bugs. Like, we're very fortunate, but we've had some here and there. And the two that I've had every presentation, I've only had two big ones were yesterday and but kind of weird. But not a lot of bugs. So it's like my engineer, I'm very, very happy with them. But I'm the biggest user of the software, and like I can't see your data because your data is it's protected and it's all yours. But I can see how many projects you've graded. So I'm winning.
Yeah.
Project wise.
That's great. That's great.
Just make a leaderboard.
Yeah.
Gamify
yeah,
it.
right.
That would be pretty cool. Well, one of the things that you're also doing is, you mentioned earlier how you're not tech, but you are an expert in the space. You have done the work. You have user expectations. So what you are really doing is you're doing user experience design. Yeah. And you're thinking through all of the problems that you personally have had or would like to avoid, or just simply trying to improve something that already exists. Yeah. So, trying to sort of like grease the chute, so to speak, to be able to get things done more efficiently. It will help you with your onboarding. It'll help you with, obviously, with keeping, biggest thing about getting users is keeping them, right? And keeping them happy. And if you can't keep them happy, they're not going to be users for long, So I think that there is a significant value in your expertise. And I'm sure that's probably part of the reason why you've been as successful as you have been.
Thank you so much. And I also read that book, Steve, like a long time ago. I still want to meet this guy. I'm going to say right now, Steve Case.
Steve Case.
I'm sure y'all know him.
Never met you well. Yeah.
I think I may have met him just at his book signing, but like not really talking to him. But I want to meet him and talk to him in the future. And I was inspired by like one of his passages in the books. It talks about like, and it's called The Third Wave, and I'm sure y'all read it. And you don't have to be an expert. You just, and I thought about, should I be an expert? And I read the books, like, no, you don't have to be an expert. You just got to find people who are as passionate as you. You're the expert in your industry. Find someone who's an expert on something that you're not good at. Y'all come together as a team and produce something good for the world. And so, like, I want to meet him.
Yeah.
That's been like an inspiration for me.
Well, you can hop a plane and go back to where I'm originally from, the D.C., Baltimore, Maryland area. 'Cause that's where Steve Case is from.
Yeah.
You know, at least that's where all of his businesses were based. But no, I think you make a good point, though, and that is that anyone that says that they're an expert in everything is really an expert in nothing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you have your strengths. I have a very hard time. Leon knows. I never allow anyone to call me an expert in anything because things change so quickly. You know, yeah, I know a lot about something, but you know, it could be different tomorrow. So, but in any case, well, is there anything that you like to say to the audience as far as budding entrepreneurs that are starting their own journeys?
Yeah, I'd just say, I guess, for other entrepreneurs, just stick with it. And I think the most important thing is just like build relationships and just find people, mentors who have been in that space. And I think take every meeting or mentorship with a grain of salt, right? You can get over, it can be overwhelming, but like I think if you're passionate about what you're doing, I think it should it should work out, right? I know it's kind of like cliche, right? But like there's more that comes with that passion. But I think that passion paired with relationships can springboard like your idea or get you in the right rooms. And so I think that's what worked for me so far is those relationships, those genuine relationships, and just I mean, I love what I do. Like I love community, and like I said in the beginning, it's not about like me. Like I want to make sure like I'm someone else's legacy, and like I want to pay it forward. But now I just want to do it in like a tech space, right? I've always done it in the nonprofit space. So
that's really
thanks for
inspiring.
having me. And like San Antonio's a small town.
I know. I saw you grab a beer, and I said we got to get you on. Pablo called me like
an hour later,
like 8 p.m. or something, or 7 p.m. was like, hey, can we do a morning podcast? And I was like, I'll get awake.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I'm awake. I'm there. I was like, perfect. And I was like, it's just like we executed on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
But out of your story, the perseverance thing is what stood out for me.
Thank you so much.
It's a lot of people don't have it. It's a stamina of getting through it and not letting those hardships like slow you down. And obviously there was a lot through life, and it's a inspiring story for many, and many that probably want to work in the nonprofit space, that want to work in tech, that want to be an entrepreneur. So I recommend that personal brand and shouting that from the rooftops. It's gonna not only help you grow, but inspired a lot of those future entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah,
so,
I just say don't give up, man. Like, and I'll share something that I didn't share with you because like my wife was pregnant during the boot camp. We lost our baby during the pre-accelerator, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so like that's life, like your story. There's always going to be personal tragedies, but if you really believe in like what you want to accomplish, like, and you have the right relationships. And love and support that you'll get through it, right? So that's my spiel. Just don't give up, and love what you do.
Very true.
Yes.
Inspiring. Thank you very much for your time, and
yeah, we'll put your information in there. I'll add an Amazon link for the Steve Case book.
Cool.
And then we really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. You guys are great, and I look forward to like getting to know y'all even more.
Yes,
And hopefully we do this again.
Yeah,
update.
absolutely. That'd be great.
Perfect.